power as a president in these 14 African nations controlled by France, you must sign that agreement to continue colonization. If you refuse, you will start having problems immediately. The first thing, they will overthrow and kill you, or they will overthrow you and keep you alive. I'll give you an example. The very first president of Togo, West Africa, after they had the so-called crazy thing they call independence, the first president was Sylvanus Olympio. Sylvanus Olympio looked at this pact and said, this cannot be possible. It's not okay. We can't do this. He even looked for a way to look for an alternative on how to settle them. But the alternative meant that he was probably going to give up nearly half of the country. Olympio said, no, we cannot do this. And in fact, Olympio also rejected the colonial currency, which is franc, imposed on the country, and he went ahead and printed a Togo national currency to replace the one imposed by the colonial masters. 3 days only, 3 days after that decision, Olympio was overthrown by members of the French foreign legionaries. And then they killed him. Who was the head of the foreign legionaries that overthrew Olympio? A man called Nasingbe Iyadema. You remember Nasingbe Iyadema? Nasingbe Iyadema received an equivalent of 550 euros from the French embassy in that country to be able to execute this wickedness that has left his nation forever in shackles. And so eventually, just about 4 years later, Nasingbe Iyadema was promoted and he became the president of Togo. And then he went ahead, with the help of Paris, he went ahead and established what will be regarded as one of the most brutal dictatorships on the West African coast. And he remained there as a life president until his death in 2005. So when you see presidents in Africa that are refusing to go, this is who is keeping them in power. The colonials are scared that a new person will come in and not ratify the colonization pact. So they want one man who is ready to continue stealing from their country and giving to them to stay in power forever. This is why Paul Biya is still in power. This is why Iyadema died in power. And all the other ones, if you are ready to continue ratifying that pact for the continuation of colonization, you can stay there and die. When you finish, your child will continue. They did the same thing to David Dacko of Central African Republic. In 1966, they overthrew him immediately because he refused to ratify it. What about Benin Republic? They did it to Matthew Kereko. What about Burkina Faso? They did it to Maurice Yamiogo. You know him? They did it to him too. What about Republic of Mali? Modiba Keita. They did the same thing to him. These men were Africans, solid men. You can't find those men again today. These were guys who said, no, France, this is not right. How can we continue like this? And they took them out, one after the other. And that is the history of how France has held Africa down. Exactly the same thing that you see happening to British colonies in Africa. Did you see the new documentary that was done this year in 2019? It's called Cold Case Hammershot. I'll play you a video from Cold Case Hammershot so you can see how a man who was an agent of the apartheid regime in South Africa was confessing on camera how they were using vaccines laced with HIV virus, and they were giving it to our African people to reduce population so that South Africa will become a white majority nation rather than a black majority nation. Confess. I did not make it up. I'll play the video right now.
Well, the clandestine operations, we were involved in coups, taking over countries for other leaders. We were involved in Mozambique, spreading the AIDS virus through medical conditions. We were involved in Angola with Dr. Jonas Savimbi for various operations. We were military support.
So, people were killed during these operations?
Oh, definitely.
We mentioned I just do the question again and then you can come in?
Yeah.
You mentioned actively spreading AIDS?
There was a unit in from Sinai that one of the things was that we went into African countries.
And how was that done exactly?
Through inoculation.
Through vaccines?
Yeah, through vaccines. Pretending to inoculate people and that type of thing.
The idea being to kill black people?
Yeah, to eradicate black people. You must understand the concept was that AIDS was a killer. It was incurable at that point in time. So it was led to believe that if you infected people, it was the quick, non-militaristic approach to eliminate black people.
And that is something you know for a fact, that AIDS was actually being spread to other countries?
Yes, to African countries.
Vaccines! No child that will come through me will ever come under vaccines in this life. I've said it already. It's a decision I made more than 10 years ago. Because these people are involved in something terribly sinister. When you tell our people, because it's too much for their brain, they'll say, it's not possible, it's not possible. And you are surrendering your people. The guy just confessed. Vaccines. They were the one distributing HIV. You remember how they ridiculed all the people who brought out this news back in the past? They will ridicule you and say, how can you be saying that? How can you be saying that? When HIV was manufactured, it was meant to be a race-specific biological weapon. Race-specific means that it will be targeting members of just a particular race.
99 Graves discovered the secret 71 Special Virus Center flowchart, which spells out the incremental development of a laboratory-produced virus designed to attack and undermine the immune system of people of African descent.
You see, I remember back in the days, just some years back, when I was telling my elder brother, who is a medical doctor, I was telling him that HIV was manufactured. My brother gave me such a silly laugh that if I didn't know myself, I would have walked away looking like a fool. That same thing they were doing to reduce population of black and make South Africa a white majority country is what has led to the apartheid xenophobic attacks that you are seeing today. Because they cannot carry on cues again, because they cannot do some violent things again, what they now do is that they are making black people do it by themselves. They are making blacks accomplish that dream for them.
Xenophobic violence taking place in Johannesburg and Pretoria. I'm still trying to understand, and I've discussed it with the Imam, what is this whole issue? Because 80% of the land in this country is not in the hands of black people. The best jobs in this country is not in the hands of black people. Yet this violence unashamedly has been black upon black. And it seems as if we have forgotten who gave us refuge and shelter and support when we were fighting against the white tyranny of this country.
The people on top of the table are eating the proper meal. You that own the country, you are under the table with your fellow black man and you're killing him. What has the black man done to you, South Africa? If not that this is an intelligence operation for blacks to turn on blacks so that the whole thing will be in favor of the colonials who want to take over South Africa. That's why when in 1960 every nation was voting in favor of decolonization, Union of South Africa abstained from voting together with the United Kingdom, who is mostly their parent country. Because they know that they want colonization to continue to go on in South Africa. There's a company called Monsanto. The day I heard that Monsanto has been established, has a big structure in South Africa, I wept raw tears. Monsanto is the leading company, #1 company that churns out genetically modified organisms as food for human beings. Monsanto will produce corn for you. You will eat corn. After eating the corn, you will not be able to plant the corn back. Corn generated from the laboratory. We are Africans. We are people of nature. We are people of organic eating. What has happened to us? I went to South Africa in Joburg. I told them, buy me fruits. They bought me mango. Mango was looking like watermelon. They bought me this. Everything was so artificial. These are brain damaging, life altering everything you can think of, foods that you're eating. That's why our people are becoming more animalistic and more detached and disconnected from reality than ever before because of what you eat. The colonials don't just use vaccines on you to mess up your DNA. They use food. Food is their greatest form of war. That is what is destroying our African people. That's why you can meet your fellow brother and sister. You will kill them, set them ablaze and watch them burn. And you don't see anything wrong with it. We have been destroyed. If we don't get back to where we missed it, Africa will be no more. Let me tell you the gospel truth as I'm closing now. No matter what anybody thinks, these colonials, their vision, number one dream is to invade all of Africa and take over Africa. I don't want to go into the deeper details of why they want to do this, and they desperately want to do it as soon as possible. And for them to do that, they need to kill the rest of us off. This is what is happening. South Africa is almost a success story for them. And if we allow the sentiments to get to us and avoid South Africa like they want us to do, that will be the end. That's one country they have already taken over. And they're going to move to different other countries. So I am suggesting this. African nations come together because now we are not free. The only free country I can think of right now in Africa is probably Rwanda. The rest of them, nobody has independence. My first proposal is, can we stop celebrating independence in the whole of Africa first? Because there is no independence. United Nations is there watching these people still colonizing us, is not doing anything. ICC is there doing nothing. When the man in Ivory Coast, Laurent Gbagbo, wanted to challenge this wicked colonization, they dealt with him, and United Nations backed the colonial masters to kick him out of power. In a way, they humiliated him.
We are shooting at heavy weapons. We are not shooting at the presidency. We are shooting where the heavy weapons are. We are trying to prevent all heavy weapons to act. So we have to see any gun has to make sure that all heavy weapons cannot can be used again against the civilian population or against the peacekeepers. So against the heavy weapons. That's very clear.
Now they took him to ICC. What was his crime? Nothing. So why can't we have another conference like the Berlin Conference? Berlin Conference happened, our ancestors were not invited. They decided our destiny. Can we have another conference where we decide how do we settle them? Because they have become a part of us now. If they need us to settle, let's settle. But they have to leave Africa alone because we cannot continue like this. This is why anytime you see an African president going through hell, think twice before you fight and open your mouth to talk against the president. There must be something that when Jonathan of Nigeria refused to sign the colonization pact and began to nationalize Nigerian oil well, what happened? He began to have problems immediately. Who did they use to criticize Jonathan? Pastors, prophets, preachers. You will not believe the set of people, powerful, prominent men of God, in quote, were the ones at the forefront of the fight against Jonathan. Because the colonials hated him. So they quickly brought their man now. And all those preachers sealed their lips. Can't talk anymore. So when you see an African president having a problem, economic problem, if he refuses to obey them, they will pull the rug from under his feet and make him to start having a problem. Africa, start thinking. Let's begin to think. Let's stop eating trash and begin to think like human beings. So again, back to my proposal. We need to get these people to a round table and discuss with them on the future. We cannot continue to be like this. Let the leaders of Africa come together, the elders of Africa come together and call the European Union together and say, tell us what we must do so that you can leave us alone. Our generation unborn, even the ones that are born, are too disillusioned now to even be called human beings. You must get somewhere with us in this agreement. Let's begin from somewhere. My proposal, and I pray that somehow these people will respond to this proposal, and if they don't respond, May the God of heaven give us the grace to pull ourselves forcefully away from the grip